Welcome to From Backlog to Boardroom-Ready, Best Practices for NetSuite Financial Reporting, an expert practices panel brought to you by the Controllers Council. My name is Neil Brown, Executive Director of the Controllers Council. And before I introduce our expert panelists and our partner sponsor, let me share some brief housekeeping items. This webinar is CPE eligible with 4 polling questions. So please answer each poll, and if not CPE, please answer to benchmark your peers. Also regarding CPE, you must attend for at least 50 minutes and answer a quick survey at the end. Next, we'll have Q&A at the end of the presentation, so use your GoToWebinar control panel to ask our experts questions. And finally, you'll receive a link to this presentation in the next 24 hours, so no need for notes or screenshots. So I'm very pleased to introduce our partner and sponsor, CloudExtend by Celigo, and we have more information forthcoming shortly. But I'm really excited to introduce our presenters for today. Brandt Kucharski is Chief Accounting Officer at Ethos Life, which you've probably seen a lot of commercials on some of these sports stations lately. He took the company public in an IPO in 2025, and in 2026. Okay, sorry about that.
Don't remind me.
Yeah, it was supposed to be 25 and it pushed to 26. Okay. Prior, Brandt was an early stage employee at Grubhub, which he also took public, and he had a stint in public accounting at Crowe Horwath. Brandt was the Controllers Council 2025 National Controller of the Year and is a board advisor for Controllers Council, along with a children's charity called Holiday Heroes Foundation. Brandt earned a BS Accounting and a Master's Accounting from my alma mater, Northern Illinois University. And Chris Corcoran is General Manager of CloudExtend Division of Celigo. He's a 34-year company veteran. He started when he was 16. Chris earned a BA Management Information Systems at Boston University and resides in Redwood City, California. Last but not least, Justine Burdo is Head of Sales and Customer Success at CloudExtend Division Celigo, and she earned a BS in Business Management at Southern Connecticut State University and resides in San Mateo, California. Welcome, Brandt, Justine, and Chris. And come on to video now. While I will just briefly tell you about our agenda today. Justine's going to give us a little bit background information on Celigo and CloudExtend. And then we're going to get into the topic of Excel is where finance lives and why finance teams can't seem to quit spreadsheets. Replacing Excel is not the right goal. So what is the right objective? And then Chris is going to do a quick demo so you can see it for yourself. And as mentioned, we're going to have Q&A at the end, so submit your questions in chat. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Justine.
Thank you kindly, Neil. Super happy to be here today. Let's do a quick introduction to Celigo and CloudExtend to kick us off. So CloudExtend is built on the foundation of Celigo, the leading intelligent automation platform known for built-in collaboration, reusable building blocks, a 95% auto error resolution, and predictable pricing. Now, CloudExtend focuses specifically on connecting NetSuite to the everyday tools that your team already lives in: Excel, Outlook, Gmail, SharePoint, OneDrive, and Google Drive. The scale tells the story. 30,000 plus users across more than 60 countries, over 9 million emails attached in the last 12 months, 2 million reports run per year, and 2.2 million upserts have been processed. This is truly an enterprise-grade software with real adoption behind it. Next slide, Neil, please. Thank you. Now, CloudExtend offers 3 purpose-built products. Extend Insights puts live NetSuite data directly into Excel. So no more stale exports, no broken CSV files. Extend Sync automates the flow of emails, calendar events, and attachments from Outlook and Gmail into NetSuite. And Extend Docs keeps your documents in SharePoint or OneDrive while keeping NetSuite in sync. Today's session is specifically focused on our Extend Insights product and our brand new financial reporting module. But all three tools are part of the same ecosystem, and they solve distinct problems that most NetSuite teams seem to deal with every single day. So let's talk about something every finance professional in this audience already knows intuitively: spreadsheets. They're not going away, and the honest truth is they really shouldn't be. The conversation really isn't about getting finance teams completely off Excel. It should really be about fixing the painful parts of how they use it every day.
All right, but before we get into that, we're going to have our first of 4 polls for CPE or to benchmark your peers. Spreadsheets are a very important tool in our accounting and finance department. Let's launch that poll.
And Brandt, while responses are coming in, I'd love your reaction to this question. What would you say to someone who claims that their team has moved fully past spreadsheets?
You know, I get this question a lot. I am not a subscriber to the idea that Excel is bad. I think it's critical. I think biggest thing is that majority of the company works in Excel, and there's products out there in the market, Blackline's one, where they encourage not using Excel, logging into some ugly portal. It just doesn't work, right? You need to be able to share information amongst marketing, IT, get data, move fast, and Excel is where it's all at. We close in Excel. We close at Grubhub in Excel. There's plenty of other controls and checks and balances you can put in place to make it effective. But to expect everyone outside of accounting to log into some portal and work in some version that looks like Excel that's not Excel doesn't work, right? So I'm a big proponent of Excel.
Yeah, totally agree with you. And that's why we have people coming to us all the time wanting to integrate something, like Excel with NetSuite. So I appreciate your response.
All right, well, let's see what the audience says. And no surprises here. Leading 53% strongly agree, followed by 44% that agrees. So I think that's about 97%. And I'm
Neil, one person's not sure, which is
one person.
they just don't know.
Yeah. So, anyways, no one disagrees. Let's just say that. So let's close out that poll and move on.
Thank you, Neil. So here's the framing we use. Your ERP, which is NetSuite in this case, is the system of record, right? It captures your raw data and it really tells you what happened. Excel is the system of interpretation. It tells you what matters, what changed, and what decision really needs to be made next. So these are different jobs and both are really necessary, right? The mistake is trying to make one tool do the other's job, either forcing Excel to be your system of record or expecting your ERP to produce boardroom-ready analysis. And with AI now built into Excel, the combination is only getting smarter. You can do things today in a connected workbook that would have taken hours of manual work, even 2 years ago. So think about everything that happens in Excel downstream of the ERP. Finance teams reshape data into structures that reflect how the business actually operates. They build custom reports, they test assumptions, run ad hoc analysis, and really prepare these executive level insights that the board can read and act on. And they also increasingly leverage AI inside of Excel, surfacing patterns, drafting commentary, flagging anomalies. The data lives in NetSuite, but the story gets told in Excel. Brandt, what's a recent example where Excel was the tool that really brought the data to life for your leadership team?
I mean, if we just we can talk about Grubhub, we can talk about Ethos, but anytime you have a consumer-facing company, you look at a lot of data by cohorts, channel, marketing, and that data comes into Excel. You need to sort it, pivot it, analyze it, aggregate it by if we're talking Grubhub, talking zip code, talking market, compare to marketing spend. Just a lot of data flows in through Excel to really feed decisions in the business, and it starts in Excel and pivoting and getting insight and asking questions and getting smarter. And then from there, you can build decks and use AI to make the data look very polished and build charts and graphs, right?
Yeah. Totally. And that's exactly the workflow that we see. And we want to make that faster, cleaner, and more reliable. Okay, so let's keep going. So most finance teams aren't trying to eliminate spreadsheets. What they're trying to eliminate are those manual exports, the disconnected data, the repetitive rebuilding of the same reports month after month, and not to mention the version chaos, right? Where no one knows where the most recent file actually is. Like if you've ever sent a report and gotten a reply asking, is this the latest version? That's the problem that we're really trying to solve. It's not Excel itself. So version chaos isn't just a technical annoyance. It really erodes trust in the numbers. The right solution isn't fewer spreadsheets. It's live data in the spreadsheets that you already use.
Which brings us to our second poll of 4, and that is automating manual and repetitive tasks is a top priority of my accounting and finance department. Let us launch that poll. Oh, you got it. So take a few seconds. Didn't mention on the first poll, but all answers are confidential, anonymous. So please take a few moments.
We have one person who apparently enjoys very manual, long, tedious processes.
Yes, they do. Well, don't laugh. No answer is bad, Brandt.
I agree.
And we have to have, there's only 5 answers allowed in this, so we always have to have another. Anyways, we're getting up there. We got smart people. They're voting fast. Let's give them just a few more seconds. And I got to say, this is a pretty easy poll, isn't it? So let's share the results. Wow. 49% agree and 49% strongly agree. Only 2% strongly disagree. So enough said on that one. Back to you, Justine.
Thanks, Neil. So let's put some hard numbers to what we've been talking about and describing here, because it's easy to treat this as a soft problem when really it's not. So 82% of finance professionals report on emotional attachment to Excel, which confirms that adoption of any solution has to meet people where they are, not ask them to change everything that they're doing. 69% of finance teams spend at least 5 hours every week manually recreating reports. If you think about that, that's over 250 hours per person per year, essentially on maintenance. Account reconciliation alone consumes 20 to 50 hours per month for many teams. 40% of organizations still manage up to half their financial data manually, and 50% of finance teams say it takes 6 or more days to close the book each month. Brandt, when you look at those numbers, do those line up with what you've experienced before you had better tools in place to help?
I mean, I'll go back to my experience at CAO at Grubhub. I left from the company, sold in 21, then joined Ethos. But when I left, we were doing about 700,000 orders a day, or roughly 30 million orders a month. Each one had a unique cash receipt. And back then, there was no AI in 21. And there was this manual process we always did of, taking a bunch of credit card receipts, taking what our ERP said, trying to match them up and match it to an order table. It would take probably 10, 15 hours a month. Excel was limited in terms of how many rows you could put in there, and we just didn't have the technology to do it. Anytime you can automate a process like that, it's huge. And right now, AI is certainly becoming efficient for accountants. It's great for accounting research. It's great for presenting great decks and taking data. It's great for email summary. It still has a ways to go to really work on its own like a senior accountant on that, but definitely get some value add here. But their accountant's job is to take manual processes and automate them as much as you can. And I remember even at Ethos a couple of years ago, we went from Excel to NetSuite and automated our revenue rec, which is great. And when I first joined, we were in Excel for revenue rec, right? Every time we sold a policy, it was tracked in Excel. The accounting happened in Excel, and it just was very risky till we can get off QuickBooks to go on NetSuite.
Yeah, and that's exactly what our products are really built for, to help give you time back, give you that time back, so that you don't have to spend all these hours doing all this manual reporting. So